throws it down. Local buzz to the red carpet gowns. LadyRo's the queen with the news to crown. Saturday morning, feel the groove. Sip your coffee and catch the mood. LadyRo's got the scoop for you. Let's make the morning move.
Hello, and welcome to Saturday Morning Scoop with LadyRo. Thank you guys for joining. Good morning. I was running my mouth and the mic wasn't even on. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Saturday Morning Scoop with LadyRo. And I am glad to have you guys here. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today because, child, they've been acting a fool out here in the world. The world is losing their mind. Do you hear me? Losing it. Good morning, LadyRo and chat. It's Saturday. You know what that means exactly. We come down here to talk about all of the things. Please hit that like button, share, comment, and subscribe. Let me get a swig of water because I just got off the prayer line with my family. We do a once a month Saturday morning, we call it corporate family prayer. So we just kind of all meet up on Zoom and we pray. I had to get off the line. They still praying. But let me get me some water. Because I done cried and prayed this morning already. But God is yet good, regardless of what we're going through. Yes, please come in, comment, like, share, and subscribe. Let's get this day started. Let's get it started. And I tell you that it's all kinds of things going on out here. All kinds of things. All kinds. When I say all kinds. There was not a lack of things to find to share today. I'm honestly, when I started looking, things just start popping up. And I was like, I don't want to talk about all of this. I don't have this much time in the day, but we're going to try to hit as much as we can. Again, I don't know what's going on with this thing. There we go. Welcome to LadyRo's Queendom, where let me get this off the screen, y'all. Give me a second. Where we nurture. That means as a group, as a collective. We cultivate as a collective, and we awaken your inner queen. That means each other. We talk to each other, and we just try to help each other out with growing in whatever that is, life. Please comment, like, share, subscribe to this channel, y'all. We are growing and glowing over here, regardless of what anybody thinks. All views expressed in this live, they are all alleged, in my opinion, and they're all for entertainment purposes. I don't know if any of this is true. All I know is that I found it all out here on the internet, child. It was a lot to find. Fair use disclaimer. Some material used in this video is used under U.S. Copyright Fair Use, Section 107 for purposes such as commentary, criticism, news reporting, and education. Today, we're going to do a lot of commentary, a lot of criticism, some news reporting, and some education. And I want to send a shout out to the ladies and the lady who is always making sure I stay on top of the news. Because, baby, it was very easy to scroll back up, look at what we done talked about, and put it on out here for us to talk about this morning. Thank you, Living For Me. Good morning, Symmetry. I was just talking about you, girl. I was just talking about you. But I'm going to give you some highlights of what we're going to talk about today. The Supreme Court rejected Virginia's bid to restore the congressional maps favoring the Democrats. So we're going to talk about that. North America's largest commuter rail system shuts down after workers go on a strike. We're going to talk about the birthplace of the civil rights movement, which is where? Alabama. Groups rallied to defend Black political representation. We're going to talk about the Harvey Weinstein mistrial in his rape case. We're going to talk about Dwight Howard's ex-wife or soon-to-be ex-wife, or we're just going to say Amy Luciani. Baby, she is demanding for some temporary alimony. We're going to talk about all of the things. We're going to talk about Lisa Wu. Yeah, Lisa Wu she been out here gone for a considerable amount of time, but she done found herself back in the headlines, and it's not for good. It's not for good. Louisiana's having to recall. They're having a recall petition signing. Child, they trying to recall their governor and get rid of him. So we're gonna talk about that. One thing I want everybody to remember: please check and make sure you are still registered to vote. From just by going through certain things, I have read over and over that people are going to vote and being told that they are not registered, even though they recently voted. So make sure that you're checking your voter's registration and that it is still active. Make sure you're doing it. I checked my own, even though I just voted a couple of weeks ago. I checked my own to make sure it was still active. We're going to talk about the AKAs and how they're receiving a whole lot of backlash because, baby, they don't let a MAGA supporter join their sorority. Child. We're going to talk about South Carolina Supreme Court overturning Alex Murdaugh's conviction. We're going to talk about that and what led up to it because, baby, when I say I followed this case when it happened because I thought it was strange and that the story didn't make a whole lot of sense. With the father having all of these financial issues and then the wife coming up unalived and the son all at the same time. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense. But I believe that some two things can be true at once. He could have done it. He could not have done it. But the story just didn't make a lot of sense. So they overturned his conviction and he will be retried. We're going to talk about Waymo. If you know what Waymos are, they're those cars that are like Ubers, but they don't have a driver. So they show up at your house and you get in and it takes you wherever you want to go. Anyway, Waymo, they have been flocking to this neighborhood in Atlanta. And child, they go there every day and they have been blocking the entrance to this little small community. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some good stuff that I saw on the internet. This gentleman and they're in a boat. Child, we're going to say God and luck was on their side. We're going to talk about that. We're going to do some inspirational video one. And we're going to talk about, imagine if men had to give birth to children, child. We wouldn't have no people on this earth. We're going to talk about the midterms. We're going to talk about this new election. What is the reason why they want this overturned so badly? And, of course, we're going to talk about I don't know what word I want to use. We're going to talk about Cheyenne Bryant. I won't put no doctor on front of it. Maybe ex-doctor Cheyenne Bryant. Want to be a doctor Cheyenne Bryant. I don't know what to say. But we're going to talk about Cheyenne Bryant, y'all. Let's get into it. Let's go on and step right on in. Let's talk about Lisa Wu. And remember, everything I'm talking about is alleged. I don't know if any of this is true. All I know is what I done read out here on the internet. Trust me, trust me, trust me. According to reality TV, reality news, RHOA alumni Lisa Wu dragged into theft by deception claims. She denies accusations. It looks like the original Real Housewives of Atlanta cast member Lisa Wu has some new drama on her hands. A former friend has accused Lisa of defrauding her out of a house. It's a messy situation, and the cops are involved. Meanwhile, Lisa claims that she did nothing wrong. TMZ got the details on these allegations against Lisa, which were brought to light by her former friend, Norma Denise Mitchum. She filed a police report last month claiming that she was the victim of theft by deception after a botched real estate deal. Allegedly, Lisa helped Norma purchase her dream home through a LLC after Norma was unable to qualify for the loan. Norma's nephew spoke to the police about the situation. He explained that Lisa agreed to transfer the deed to the home back to Norma after resolving some outstanding liens. However, Norma and her nephew believe that Lisa never intended to transfer the deed. Instead, they believe that Lisa tried to sell the house back to them at a higher price. Thus, Norma feels like she's the victim of fraud because she's stuck in a house that she does not have her name on. Of course, Lisa has a totally different story about how all of this went down. She admitted to purchasing the home, but accused Norma of dropping her end of the deal. According to Lisa, Norma assured her that she could afford the home and made a couple of payments towards the house. But Lisa says Norma ghosted her after she wouldn't put the home in her son's name. It sounds like payments have completely stopped rolling in. Yet Norma remains in the house like a squatter. With that in mind, Lisa is adamant that she's innocent. Helping a friend buy a dream home isn't a crime. For more than 30 years, I've built my career and reputation with integrity, professionalism, and hard work, Lisa said in a statement. I have absolutely no involvement in fraudulent activity of any kind, and the idea that I would be implicated simply because of people I know or professional relationships is preposterous. Child, Lisa said, y'all gonna keep my name out of this bull swanky. Anyway, tell me what your thoughts are on these accusations against Lisa Wu. Do you believe that Lisa intentionally defrauded her friend, or is her friend just a squatter? Good luck, Lisa. Good luck. Child, I don't know how this works. That these people always get caught up with their friends. I don't want no friends that I got to get caught up with. None whatsoever. I don't want any that get me caught up. Next, let's on the stage. Let's talk about Amy Luciana, Dwight Howard's soon to be ex-wife, I guess, or his estranged wife. Dwight Howard's estranged wife demands temporary alimony. $20,000 for legal fees amid divorce battle. This is an exclusive coming to us from US Weekly. Dwight Howard's estranged wife is demanding temporary alimony, claiming she's unable to maintain her lifestyle amid their bitter divorce battle. US Weekly can exclusively reveal, according to court documents obtained by us, Amy Luciani, real name Amber Howard, argues that she and Howard, 40 years old, agreed she would be a stay-at-home wife. She would be a stay-at-home wife for the entirety of their marriage. Well, girl, your marriage was only there for a year, so you were stay at home then. You got to go back to work. Luciani, 35, says she's presently unemployed and still completely dependent on the NBA player whom she calls the breadwinner. She notes that Howard is employed as a professional basketball player and has significant income. Girl, it's his. It's his income. And wait a minute, though. Y'all didn't file a prenup, so it may be y'all's income. Let me keep reading. Respondent has reliant upon the financial stability and support of the petitioner as her primary source of financial support. Throughout the parties' marriage, petitioner was the sole financial provider for the family unit. Luciani's filing reads, Howard's ex claims she dedicated her life and career to the care and well-being of the family. She argues that without being awarded alimony, she will be unable to both afford a place to live and maintain her day-to-day expenses. Luciani stressed that Howard is fully aware she does not have the financial resources to secure legal representation and is asking her estranged husband for $20,000 to pay for her attorney and fees in their ongoing divorce. She says the litigation has already put a financial strain on her, and she needs the funds to adequately prepare for their divorce battle. Petitioner's financial condition is far superior to that of the respondent, and he has the ability to pay the same. Respondent has no other access to funds, her docs say. Luciani wants a hearing to address her temporary alimony and five-figure legal fee demands at the court's earliest convenience. At the time of this post, the judge had not ruled or set a date for the hearing. U.S. reached out to Howard and Luciani's attorney for comment. Remember, Howard filed for divorce on May 9th, listing their marriage as irrecoverably broken. while noting there was no hope for reconciliation. It was the third time that this couple has filed to end the divorce after just 1 year. Child, and they share no children. Weeks later, the NBA star was granted a protective order against Luciani after claiming she stalked him and threatened to punch him in the throat. Girl, you should have already did that. Anyway, Howard also noted that he has a pow pow in his home that's readily accessible to Luciani. He alleged he was worried she might try to use that unlively force against him. She denied the claims, telling us in part that unfortunately Dwight is pulling any string of retaliation to cover up another one of his many wrongdoings. The protective order is completely false. Still, a judge ordered Luciani to stay 100 yards away from Howard and his children. The athlete has 5 children with 5 different women. Howard later dropped the protective order. Child, we know why he dropped it, but I digress. Anyway, dismissing the protective order in exchange for an order in the divorce case that was the first step in the process of applicable resolution, which is always the best course of action in any divorce proceeding, his attorney told People magazine at the time. Child, when I tell you that these two probably should have never been anything other than a moment in time. That's it. Living for Me said requesting money from a man you knew you couldn't make happy is diabolical, child. It's beyond that. I know symmetry. I know. Palm in hand. Palm in hand. Anyway, y'all, this right here is a mess, a mess, a mess, a mess. So, y'all, the AKAs went over there and they done let this lady into their sorority. Now, I don't know why they did it. I don't have any of the back story on it other than that this is a big mess and that the people's is mad about it. We'll say that. Let me see if I can find what I did pull up. Let's go.
This story right now. AKA is receiving major backlash for letting a MAGA influencer join. Now, the comments for this pic went crazy. You got one person that stated, we do ourselves a disservice to the organization when political affiliation becomes a cover for attacking white members, simply because some believe they should not be a part of the D9 organization. Another person said, when you invite everybody to the cookout, if you scroll down, somebody said, ain't no brother of mine MAGA. Now, some people want to know, is she cosplaying? What is her motivation for joining? Now, AKA does not discriminate on the basis of race, color, and ethnicity. So
they don't discriminate, but child, they know that wasn't going to fare well with the people. They knew it because we know she gonna be out here shining bright for the whole world to see. Y'all remember when we was young, we had those games. I think they was called Light Bright, and it was a big light. You put a black piece of paper in front of it. It had some way that you could fasten it to it, and you stick the lights in, and you created an image. Sometimes butterflies, trees, whatever. Child, this is where she's gonna stand out. With the AKAs.
Did that change? I mean, it must be two sides, right? Should Shorty be a part of this organization, or should Dr. Umar come intervene? Y'all let me know in the comments, man.
We know Umar probably is gonna come intervene. He gonna say something. Umar is gonna say something if his name ain't Umar. That's the only way he won't say something if his name isn't Umar. Next, let's talk about the Supreme Court rejecting. Should we go deep? I'm trying to stay light for a few minutes, but let's go ahead and let's go on and get on into these stories that have pulled up because we need to know. We need to know what's going on out here in our world. And we're going to talk about it. Shout out to the Associated Press for this. Supreme Court rejects Virginia's bid to restore congressional map favoring Democrats. Y'all, this is not a win, not for the Democrats, for sure. The Supreme Court on Friday rejected Virginia's bid to restore a congressional map that would have given Democrats a chance to pick up 4 seats in the closely divided House of Representatives. The court's order, without any noted dissent in the latest twist in the nation's mid-decade redistricting competition. Child, isn't it ironic that they're calling it mid-decade redistricting competition? Because this should not be a competition. We are humans, and we have been diluted and reduced to being pawns, literally. It was kicked off last year by President Donald Trump, urging Republican controlled states to redraw their lines, and was supercharged by a recent Supreme Court ruling severely weakening the Voting Rights Act that opened up even more winnable seats for the GOP. Y'all, if y'all not paying attention, this is important. That's why I said I don't know if I wanted to get into the heavy stuff, but we got to get into it. Good morning, Gail France. Good morning. Thanks for joining. Y'all, we got to get into the heavy stuff. Regardless of how we feel, we have to know what is going on out here in our world. Now, then we redrawing lines is about so much more. We think about surface things. Oh, they don't want to lose the midterm. Oh, baby. I think it's about far more than this, because there are so many things being dismantled. For the last 2 weeks, we've done some conversing about the gentleman who wrote Project 2025. I also told you that this gentleman who wrote Project 2025 his degree is in history with an emphasis on African American studies. Okay, when in doing so, he studied African Americans and how we operate, and he realized in his studies that African Americans are matrifocal, meaning that our families are centered around the Black mother or the Black female, some other type figure. And it's ironic that in doing so, that all of a sudden the Voters' Right Act became gutted out pretty much by the Supreme Court. You notice that in Tennessee, they decided to remove all of the Black Democrats from the committees that they serve on. Now, their counterparts, the Caucasian Democrats, still are on their committees, but all of the Black people that were part of the that are Democrats and were on these committees were removed from their committees in Tennessee. I hope you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. I hope you guys are following the droppings of the bread, because it's going to lead us to where we're trying to go. Please pay attention. Please make sure, when I said earlier, make sure that your registration to vote is still active. That's the first thing you need to do. The second thing you need to do is make sure you have the correct ID information before you go to these polls and try to vote. That's the next thing you need to do. But you need to be paying attention. Gail France says they fail to realize more of them is pissed off. They fail to realize more of them is pissed off than we are. They will lose no matter how much they try to redirect. Maybe so, Gail France, but I want you to pay attention to something else that I really realized this week that I don't think Americans are really, really looking out for. Really, no matter how pissed off we are, I want you to really listen closely. These people are playing the long game. They are. The GOP is playing the long game, and believe it or not, they winning. And I hate to say that, but they're winning. In recent days, the justices have sided with Republicans in Alabama and Louisiana, who hope to redo their congressional maps to produce more GOP leading seats following the court's voting rights decision. But the Virginia situation was different, stemming from a 4-3 ruling by the Virginia Supreme Court that struck down a constitutional amendment that voters narrowly passed just last month. Y'all, I'm telling y'all got to pay attention. The state court found that the Democratic-controlled legislature improperly began the process of placing the amendment on the ballot after early voting had begun in Virginia's general election last fall. The Supreme Court typically doesn't intervene in state court proceedings unless they present an issue of federal law. Virginia Democrats had hoped to persuade the justices that the Virginia court misread federal law and Supreme Court precedent that even if early voting is underway, an election does not happen until election day itself. Virginia's amendment had been intended as a response to Republican gains in Texas, Missouri, North Carolina, and Ohio, and to blunt a new map in Florida that just became law. Once the Virginia Amendment passed, it briefly turned the nationwide redistricting scramble into a draw between two parties. That was unraveled by the Virginia Supreme Court decision. So them overturning that actually, because remember, Virginia, they actually had voted to put a law in place that they could do redraw their maps, and redrawing those maps would give the Democrats in Virginia uh, an opportunity to get more seats, right? It would give them that opportunity. I'm not saying they would actually have to do it because the people actually have to go vote. The Commonwealth of Virginia would have to go vote, but it would give them that chance of getting those seats because of where the line in the party maps have been drawn. But the Supreme Court came in and flipped it all around. The state's Attorney General, Democrat Jay Jones, slammed the U.S. Supreme Court's decision, saying it was another example of what he described as a national attack on voting rights and the rule of law. And I agree, because if the people have the power, then the people with the power who voted should stand. But that's not what happened. Let's be clear about what is happening. Donald Trump, Republican state legislature, and conservative courts are systematically and unabashed title tilting power away from the people for Trump's political gain. I just said that. If the people truly have the power, then why in the world is the people's voices being taken away from them by the Supreme Court? Anywho, Jones said in a statement issued late Friday, the state's top Democrats had disagreed about whether it was even too late for help from the Supreme Court. Time grows short, but it is not yet too late. Lawyers for the Democratic leaders of the legislature, as well as the state, told the justice in a brief that was filed on Friday, a day earlier. The office of Democratic Governor Abigail Spanberger already had confirmed that the state will hold this year's elections under the current redistrict map established in 2021. Last month, Virginia's Commissioner of Elections, Steve Koski, said a court order was needed by this past Tuesday to set the district lines for primary elections on August 4th. Spanberger reacted to Friday's decision by saying both courts had nullified the votes of more than 3 million Virginians who casted ballots on April 21st in the special elections. Y'all, they're taking away let me tell you, Jennifer Lewis got out here and said the people got the power, but y'all, they taking the power away from the people. These Virginians made their voices heard, casting their ballots in good faith to push back against a president who said he's entitled to more seats in Congress before voters go to the polls, she posted on her X account. The leader of the state Republican Party said the justices made the right call. Of course that's what they're going to say. Of course, they're not going to say anything different, because guess what? They really want to see this world destroyed. They want to see the U.S. become, we'll talk about that later. Anyway, wisely, the Supreme Court of the United States has confirmed the judgment of the Supreme Court of Virginia. State Party Chairman Jeff Ryer said this should once and for all put to rest the Democrats' effort to disenfranchise half of Virginia. Child, when I tell you this is a mess, This indeed is a mess. But it don't stop there. It don't stop there. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. You said they're just evil. They are. They are. It's about the Constitution. Oh, we're going to talk about that, symmetry. We're going to talk about that. Let's go on over here and watch what I found on the ticker talker. Let's see if I. Here we go. Let's go.
The wrong thing with these Republicans trying to bully their way into getting all of these seats. Everybody's saying, oh, they're worried they're going to lose the midterms. They're worried they're going to lose the midterms. No, they're not worried that they're going to lose the midterms. If they were just worried about losing the midterms, why in the world are they trying to just take away singular seats in some of these states, like South Carolina, right? Why are they worried about this one seat? This is a very red state.
I want you guys to please listen closely. Y'all, make sure y'all hit that like button if y'all don't mind. Make sure y'all, there's not very many people in here, but please make sure you're hitting that like button. Even if you're coming back to the replay, post replay, and make sure you hit that like button. Get this out to the algorithm. This needs to be heard across the world. Okay? Listen very closely to what she's about to say.
I highly doubt any of those other red seats are going to switch. You want to know why they're so worried? Because it's their true goal. You know what their true goal is? Their true goal is a 2/3 majority. And do you know what happens when you have a 2/3 majority in Congress? You can change the Constitution.
Y'all heard that? When you have a 2/3 majority in Congress, you can change the Constitution. What is the Constitution? You may ask. Those are the rights that we are afforded as citizens of this United States. They're actually going after the 14th Amendment.
That's their true goal. It's not about losing the midterms. They're not worried about that at all. They are worried that their plan to get a 2/3 majority in Congress, that's why they're pushing so hard for this. That's why they seem to be penny pitching every single seat that they can possibly get, because they need a 2/3 majority to change the Constitution. That's what we should really be worried about. And nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. They're just saying, oh, they're just worried that they're going to. No, they're not worried about just losing. They're worried that they're not going to be able to enact their plan to change the Constitution. Y'all are.
I hope you guys listened and heard that very loud and clear. Now, let me tell you this. There was a lawmaker, down there in Louisiana that just said on this here week that, and I guess he didn't know that his mic was still on, but he said the goal is to get rid of the 14th Amendment. That's what he said. That's what he said. That's what he said. The goal is to get rid of the 14th Amendment. We're going to talk about the 14th Amendment. Let me pull up the 14th Amendment so we can talk about it. Okay. The 14th Amendment was ratified in 1868, okay? The 14th Amendment is one of the most critical additions to the U.S. Constitution. Its primary purpose is to protect. I want y'all to hear me loud and clear. Let me move the mic a little closer to my mouth. Its primary purpose is to protect the civil rights of formerly enslaved people following the civil rights. Let's say that again. The 14th Amendment, it was ratified in 1868, is one of the most critical additions to the U.S. Constitution. Its primary purpose was to protect the civil rights of formerly enslaved people following the Civil War. And it has since become the cornerstone of American legal protections for citizenship due process, and equal rights. When I tell you that black folks, I ain't talking about no brown. I'm talking about the black. When you fill out your papers and it asks you to check a box and you put in there what your race is and you check black, right? Black, not Hispanic. When you check black, the one thing I want you to realize that this civil rights law, the 14th Amendment, was put in place for you. But guess what? Up under that Civil Rights Act that was put in, that 14th Amendment, everybody, they got something out of it. I'll put it that way. Everyone in the world, in the United States, got something from the Civil Rights Act. It wasn't just for black folks, although they pass it off to us as though it was just for us. It was not. It was not just for the black folks. The Civil Rights Act actually protected a lot of people other than black folk. All right. It just did. And I want you guys to make sure that you are registered to vote. These are the hard conversations that we just have to have. And we've got to tell our neighbors, our cousins, our brothers, our sisters, the people the people down the street at the grocery store, people that we come in contact with. We just kick up that little, simple conversation. You got to tell them about the very fact of we need to be out here voting. These people are trying to take our rights away from us. Tell your cousin, tell your brother, tell your friend. We've got to remember that this is their goal. This isn't our goal. This is their goal. Let's move on. So Louisiana, y'all, like I said, we got a lot to talk about. A lot of it stems to the same thing. But Louisiana's having a recall petition because they're trying to get rid of their governor. Okay, you see what it says: recall petition signing schedule. Recall Edwards, recall Landry, reclaim Louisiana. Now, as you know, Louisiana has been a red state for, I don't know, forever. I don't know if they've ever been blue. And if they were blue, it was probably mid Civil War, who knows? But they've been a Republican state for a very, very long time. Well, there was a seat that was available there was a position available, an elected seat for I want to say New Orleans County court clerk, I believe is what it was. And because I'm going off the dome, y'all, so forgive me. An African-American man who had spent some time in prison, had been exonerated because it was found that he did not do the crime, was running for the position and had won. He was elected to the seat. Well, the governor of Louisiana decided that he didn't want him to have the seat. So what he did was he went down there and he actually had the seat removed. He canceled canceled the whole position. We're just not going to have that position, child. But it went to court and the gentleman got into the position anyway. But I want y'all to see this petition recall signing schedule. They have actually put a schedule in place because they are serious. Louisiana is serious about getting rid of their governor, Landry. Okay. It's from on Monday coming up. From 7 to 12, they'll be in Mandeville, Louisiana. From 8 to 5, there will be someone in Algiers, Shreveport from 2:30 to 6 p.m., from 4:30 to 8:30 p.m. in Baton Rouge, and from 6 to 8 p.m. in New Orleans. Baby, these people are lining up. Let me see if I can show y'all a picture. These people are lining up to sign this petition, y'all. Y'all got to see this because this is one of the things you got to see it to believe it. Let me see if I can pull this up. This is coming from WAFB 9. I don't know where it's out of. I'm pretty sure Baton Rouge, Louisiana is where it's coming out of. Large crowd waits in heat to sign Governor Landry's recall position. Let's see if it'll give me without going to a commercial. Let's see.
I wish there was an easy way to control that stink.
Hey!
Uh-oh. We don't want that. Excuse me, y'all. Let me get that out of here. We're going to get rid of that. and go back to where I was at. Because we don't want to buy nothing. Let me play this really quick in the background. And it's not even let me play it. Give me a second. Okay. We got 24 seconds before this ad is over. But Louisiana, they are lining up to get rid of their governor. They want him gone. They want him out of office. They are tired of him and the shenanigans that he pulling, and they want him. He got to go. It's pretty much is what Louisiana said. He got to go. Let's see. I believe this is it. See if we can get some sound here.
Depending on where you live, it has.
Let's go all the way back. Here we go.
So all of the back and forth over the new congressional maps that will decide who you get to vote for, depending on where you live, it has come down to this here, a huge recall effort against the governor, Jeff Landry. But as our Liam Combs explains tonight, organizers have some very high hurdles to jump before ousting the governor.
White, black, Spanish, Arabic, Indian, every race, creed, and nationality. We all are out here because of the fact that the fires of racism shall not prevail.
The heat today didn't keep these folks at home, coming out in droves to oust Governor Jeff Landry.
Let me tell you something. Y'all ain't paying attention. We are about to embark upon what they went through in the 60s to get the civil rights movement going. This is just the beginning of what's about to happen in America. Baby, these people, when the people decide they done had enough, that's when the Civil War happened. Remember that.
3 from office.
And this is just a small fragment of what's going to happen come November. Because come November, we're going to show up and we're going to show out.
Folks from all over have been lining up here since what organizers tell me was 1 p.m., starting from the other side of this fence, wrapping all the way around. That's Drusilla Lane there, coming all the way. I'll let Scott zoom in here, making a way around this building and up some stairs where folks are signing these recall petitions against Governor Jeff Landry, willing to wait this out until they sign that paper. Are you here in direct opposition to what's going on with the redraw of the election?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we're taking our representation. The Jim Crow era is coming back again. We have taken that away.
This.
Are y'all paying attention? What did he say? The Jim Crow era is coming back. It's coming back again. And while we over here worried about what they doing on Real Housewives in Atlanta, and it's all fun and games, Love and Marriage Huntsville, all the things. Y'all, we got to be paying attention to what's going on in our world. This is our world. And if we do not pay attention, the United States is on a slippery slope off the earth. Literally. We're on a slippery slope back down to the Civil War. Believe it or not. That's where we're headed. Listen again.
Man and his family drove from Ascension Parish to wait in this line.
All different type of people, which means it shows that we have an opinion on what's happening. At least we're keeping up with what, we're not hiding in a closet anywhere. We're seeing what's happening. So we're out here to represent our voice.
The petition organizers did not tell us how many people have signed so far, but are coordinating the effort with other groups across the state. The line got so long today that business owners across the street started passing out water to the folks here and help direct traffic.
A lot of traffic today.
So kind of them to pass out water, because yesterday was a warm day in the South. It definitely was.
Can you just tell us what this has been, a disruption for your business at all?
Enjoy everybody doing their civic duty.
Okay.
We just have to help our patients get to the office.
Sure.
And we got people bringing us water and chocolate. You can't ask for more.
But even with all the folks here today, organizers have to get at least 500,000 signatures in order to get this recall petition on the ballot.
Do you think that's going to happen?
I'm not sure. I haven't. I passed up the street. I saw people were out. I saw what the cause was for. I stopped. Hopefully enough people feel the same way that I feel.
The people of Louisiana are obviously not happy. And as more people.
It's about time Louisiana stood up. It's about time they stood for something. Louisiana is one of the poorest states on the map. One of the poorest states on the map. And I read earlier this week that the president was trying to remove some aid to California. What if California says, you know what? We're not paying into the feds anymore. These red states, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, will fail because they use their money from California to stay afloat. And I know what I'm talking about, not what I heard.
We'll hear about what's going on, and as more people like know the locations and signing up and all that stuff, and I think more people will get involved. And
that recall petition was submitted over 10 days ago. State law says they have 180 days from then to get those signatures, putting that deadline right around Election Day, November. As for the governor's office, they had no comment.
As I said, this is actually, they've created a schedule. I'm going to post this schedule on my wall. I don't know if I have anybody that lives in Louisiana, but this is the schedule. Y'all, if you're in Louisiana, go out here and sign this petition. Make your voices heard. This is your civic duty. This is something you can be doing. Symmetry says not enough people paying attention or taking action. And this is something that we all need to do. We need to be paying attention, and we definitely need to be taking action. Definitely need to be taking action. Let's see what else I got in regards to this right here. Because I actually did some looking up and listening to things this week about this. Let's see what this is saying. I believe this is in relation to. In the birthplace of civil rights movement, group rally to defend Black political representation. This is in the vein of what we're already talking about, so I might as well add this one in here as well. It says if Black voters did not matter, then there would not be cheating for power, redistricting, gerrymandering. Child, if this isn't the truth, this is the truth. This is the truth. This says it's about us. It is about us. And if the people got the power, we got to fight back. We fight back. Black voters matter. In Montgomery, Alabama, thousands of people are rallying Saturday, which is today, in the cradle of the modern civil rights movement to mobilize a new voting rights era as a conservative state dismantled congressional districts that helped secure Black political representation. We've talked about that, about Tennessee, what they've done, how that Virginia, they voted, and the Supreme Court has now said that whatever they voted for don't even matter because it wasn't for the margin. And so, yeah, we're just going to block them out. So the people don't get a say-so in Virginia. The bottom line is we are seeing a full-fledged coordinated attack on Black political power that can actually reshape the entire political landscape, not just on the South, but throughout the nation, said LaTosha Brown, a founder of Black Voters Matter. Now, don't say that too loud because we're going to start hearing, all votes matter, but we don't want to hear none of that. We don't want to hear none of that because all votes ain't being attacked. Just Black votes are being attacked. Anyway, the rally will begin in Selma, where a violent clash between law enforcement and voting rights activists in 1965 galvanized support for passage of the Voters' Right Act. It will then move to the state capitol, where the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. gave his How Long, Not Long speech that same year. We are picking up where it was left off because we still have unfinished business, Brown said. There will not be a new Jim Crow. Y'all hear that? There will not be a new Jim Crow. This is shout out to the Associated Press for this article. A recent U.S. Supreme Court ruling involving Louisiana hollowed out voting rights laws that was already weakened by a separate decision in 2013, and then narrowing further over the years. So over the years that started in 2013, this Voting Rights Act has been being, pieces of it has been being chiseled away, and now is being gutted completely out. That helped clear the way for stricter voting ID laws, registration restrictions, and limits on early voting and polling places changes, including in states that once needed federal pre-clearance before they could change voting laws because of their historical discrimination against Black voters. Y'all, I'm telling y'all got to pay attention. Veterans of the civil rights movement are alarmed by the speed of the rollbacks. Because think about it, 2013 is 2026. That's a 13-year span. And civil rights, the Civil Rights Act, or the Voting Act, was just law in 1868, I believe. So we're moving fast to get rid of it. Noting that protections won through generations of sacrifice have been weakened in little more than a decade. Carrington, 75, was a teen in 1965 when law enforcement officers attacked marchers in Selma on what became known as Bloody Sunday. A white man on a horse wielding a stick chased Carrington throughout the streets. It's really just appalling to me, and all of the young people that marched during the 60s fought hard to get voting rights, equal rights, and civil rights, Carrington said. That's sad that is continuing after 60 plus odd years, that we are still fighting for the same thing we fought for back then. Telling you, Montgomery's home to one of the congressional districts that is being altered in the wake of the Supreme Court ruling. A federal court in 2023 redrew Alabama's 2nd congressional district after ruling that the state intentionally diluted the voting power of Black residents, who make up about 27% of its population. The court said that there should be a district where Black people are a majority or near majority and have an opportunity to elect their candidate of choice. But the Supreme Court cleared the way for a different map that could let the GOP reclaim the seat. While the matters remain under litigation, the state plans special primaries August 11th under the new map. Democratic Representative Shomari Figures, who won election in the district in 2024, said the dispute is not about him, but rather people's opportunity to have representation. When Republicans are literally turning back the clock on what representation, what the faces of representation look like, what the opportunities, legitimate opportunities for representation look like across the country, then I think it starts to resonate with people in a little bit of a different way. And I think that's where we're at right now. I believe what we're dealing with is beginning to resonate with people, and they're realizing we got to do something. We got to get out here and we got to fight. We got to do something. We as a people are becoming too complacent, definitely, Symmetry. I think we just got way too lax in the system and didn't realize what was happening to us as a whole, that we were literally losing what we had fought, what our forefathers have fought to gain for us. I believe the majority of the gentlemen who were very active with Martin Luther King, a lot of them are gone, but some of them still remain. But we have gotten so lax. Oh, we got these rights, and we're not paying attention because those rights are being taken away from us. We've got to stay vigilant about what is happening to our world. We've got to. We just got to. And I believe that's it on that. That's enough heavy stuff about the government. I want you guys to remember that you have to stay vigilant. Again, check and make sure that your voter's registration is active. Do that today. You can look online. In most states, you can look online. I will say that. In my state, you can look online. If you can't look online, I'm sure that you can, there's a number you can call, but I believe you should be able to look online. Make sure that you're active. Make sure you know where your polling places are. One thing I do every year when it's time to vote, I look and see if my polling place has moved, has changed, because they do move them from time to time. And in my state, they're notorious for, oh, you're not voting here this year. I always try to vote early, because when you vote early, you actually get a chance to go to any polling place. But if you wait to vote later or on election day, you actually have to go to your polling location that is specific for your home area. I believe I read earlier this week as well that in one state, I'm not sure if it was Alabama, that they had done some voting for a redistricting seat, and that the Supreme Court has said that I'm not sorry, not the Supreme. The governor said that those votes would not be counted. He's canceling midterm elections, all of that stuff. So I'm telling you, stay vigilant to what's going on. My little throat done got hoarse, not hoarse, but dry. So let's talk about something a little lighter. Let's get away from that heavy stuff real quick. So I found this seemed to be pretty interesting that in New York, the North America's largest commuter rail system shuts down as workers take a strike. So in Long Island, these people are beginning to strike.
After 2 days of round-the-clock negotiations, parties were unable to reach a deal. This was a management-provoked strike, as far as we are concerned. Okay, late in the 11th hour, the railroad decided to throw healthcare contributions for new employees, which was never.
Did y'all hear that? Froze healthcare for new employees. Y'all, that's wild. I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know if anybody else is noticing how bad healthcare is or the prices of healthcare. We pay through our nose for insurance, at least we do. You said I had not heard about this strike. Yes, ma'am. It's on the Associated Press. We pay through the nose for insurance, and our copays are ridiculous. Last week, my daughter had a little small emergency. We ran to the emergency room, and of course, they come in, and she has very good insurance. She has mail handler's insurance, and they took her insurance, and then they said your estimated copay is, and my eyes got so big, and I was like, what? And so they tried to explain it. Well, she has a deductible of X amount of dollars. And so once she meets this X amount of dollars, then but that you got so much you have to pay before you meet that it's ridiculous. And most of us are paying every 2 weeks when we get paid, if you get paid monthly, for this expensive premiums on this insurance. I'm going to tell you something. I have a property that is coming up time for homeowners insurance renewal. And my homeowner's insurance went up by $800. You better believe I was on that phone yesterday calling my agent saying, baby, you need to find me cheaper insurance. Allstate is great and fine, but I haven't used Allstate. I have been paying Allstate and I've never called them with a claim. I need you to find me some cheaper insurance. There's no reason for my homeowner's insurance to be going up almost $1,000 every single year. Yep, I work in the healthcare industry, and it's crazy. People mad that then they hear about how much their copay. Exactly, girlfriends. I'm gonna tell you, I have to have a upper GI done this week, and they called me. Now, this is not my first rodeo because I have some upper GI problems that I've been dealing with since I was a teenager. So every so often I have to have an EGD. And so the lady called me yesterday. Now, the last time I paid a copay, it was $300. She said, oh, your copay is $620. And I think she heard me go, what? Because I couldn't believe it. I just had one 3 years ago. And in 3 years, inflation has cost me $300 more. It's weird. It's crazy. But let's get on back to this article because I want us to hear about the reasons why Long Island has shut down the rail system.
Discussed the bargain. There were things that we had tried to talk about that they had previously discussed, and they flat out said they weren't interested. We're far apart at this point, and we feel it's unnecessary because we went through the process. 2 independent presidential emergency boards. This is something that the MTA Long Island Railroad chooses to ignore despite what the rest of the railroad industry relies upon. Okay, next month, the Railway Labor Act will be 100 years old. This law is tried and true to our nation, and it serves our nation very well. However, and regrettably here, the MTA doesn't agree with that.
I pray to God that those Teamsters get what they need, that the union continues to fight, because it can get tasking when you're fighting against when you're fighting against the system, pretty much, I will say that. North America's largest commuter rail system was shut down Saturday after unionized workers in New York City went on strike. The Long Island Railroad that serves the city eastern suburbs ceased operations early Saturday morning after 5 unions representing about half of its workforce walked off the job. The two sides have been negotiating for months on a new contract, and President Donald Trump's administration had even interceded to try and broker a deal. But the unions were legally allowed to strike starting at 12:01 a.m. Saturday. Kevin Saxon, the National Vice President of the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen, said no new negotiations have been scheduled. We're far apart at this point, Sexton said on Saturday. We are truly sorry that we're in this situation. Y'all, that's not good. That's not good when your systems start failing. When your systems start failing, you have a problem. You said, I live in the New York City tri-state area. That's not new with Long Island Union members. It's not, but we don't want our railing systems failing, period, when it comes down to the very fact that the workers can't get what they need. They need to have their negotiations heard so that they are able to get out here and do their jobs. Everybody can't go operate a train. That's a fact. Because you have to have training to operate these trains. Everybody can't be a conductor on a train. Everybody can't fix those, as my friend calls them, those knots, those knuckles, as they call them, on those trains. So you need those conductors. You need the people who actually operate the tolls that you have to use to get on the train. They need to be in place. When the whole rail system is down, New York's going to feel it. They just are. They're going to feel it. And it's unfortunate. Anywho, over towards the Harvey Weinstein, judge declares a mistrial in Harvey Weinstein's great retrial after jury deadlocks. I don't know how the jury got deadlocked on this, but they did. Jurors deadlocked in Harvey Weinstein's great retrial Friday, forcing another mistrial in a Me Too era case that has gone to trial 3 times so far. Child, Harvey is already on his way out of here. I'm not going to keep reading this. The Lord is going to do his due with Harvey. And Harvey's already, he's already been tried and found guilty of some other ones. So let him go on and sit up there and let the Lord do his work, child, on Harvey, girl. Let Harvey go do whatever he got to do somewhere else besides talking to us. Because Harvey is not going to see the light of day no time. So he coming there with his walker, his wheelchair, his mobile scooter. Where is your scooter? He can come in there with all those things. But Harvey Weinstein will not be free. He would not be free. Harvey Weinstein will pay for everything he's done to those women. Mistrial all you want to. Baby, where is your, get on your scooter and you hightail it on in there. But baby, the Lord is doing his work on you right now, Harvey Weinstein, for what you did to those women. Moving right along. We're going to talk about Alex Murdaugh real quick, and then we're going to get into some lighter things. Alex Murdaugh, I don't know how many of you guys have followed his case. I followed his case when this first happened. Of course, I wasn't a content creator at that time, but I did follow his case, and I was really, it kind of baffled me. I even watched the movie on Netflix or the series talking about it. But Alex Murdaugh's case was, he was already like in legal problems when it came down to financial. This man was a man that had the means, so they thought, but he's an attorney. He was extorting money. He was doing all kinds of fraudulent stuff and was really in over his head. Next thing we know, his wife and his son come up unalived. And Harvey was accused of it, and he actually was convicted of it. Well, on this week, a court overturned his double murder conviction, okay? A murder conviction that crippled the nation and touched on power and privilege in the South has been tossed out. Former South Carolina prosecutor Alex Murdaugh, remember, he was a prosecutor. He comes from a long family of attorneys. He does. Was found guilty of the unaliving of his wife and son. But the state Supreme Court threw out his double murder conviction, pointing to jury interference by a court clerk during the trial. Lisa Disenjargen, child, this is a name, discuss more with Valerie. We're just going to call her by the first name. So I'm not going to read the full transcript, but here's the whole thing. The county court clerk, baby, was out here talking to the jurors, just running her mouth. She done, I think, wrote a book. She was convicted in December, honey, of tampering with the jurors. Let's hear what they got to say. Hopefully, we won't have to listen to a commercial.
Lens Landscape Lighting is celebrating 40 years of lighting solutions for homes in Texas.
Child, hurry up with this commercial. Hurry up, hurry. So I can fix me and my grandson some breakfast.
On Masterpiece.
For the last 15.
Oh, I love Masterpiece Theater. We got 26 seconds. But you said you remember the case, Gail? Oh, it was the case was very, very interesting. But child, I never understood what would be the reason to unalive the wife and the son. I didn't that part I never really understood. Now, him over there being a fraud and embezzlement, that kind of understood, but the rest, I don't know. Here we go. Let's listen.
In the South is being tossed out. Former South Carolina prosecutor Alec Murdaugh was found guilty of killing his wife and son on their estate. But today, the state Supreme Court threw out his double murder conviction.
Shout out to PBS News for this article.
Lisa Desjardins has more.
In a unanimous opinion, the justices overturned Murdaugh's life sentence for the murders, pointing to shocking jury interference by a court clerk during the trial. Murdaugh was convicted of killing his wife Maggie and son Paul on a summer night in 2021 at their secluded family compound. He took the stand, insisting he was innocent, but had to acknowledge he lied about his initial claim that he was not at the murder scene, disproven by incredible cell phone video taken by his son shortly before his death. No murder weapon was found, but the jury deliberated just 3 hours before convicting him. State Attorney General Alan Wilson says he will hold another trial. Meantime, the disbarred lawyer, Murdaugh, will remain in prison where he is serving a separate decades-long sentence for stealing more than $12 million from his clients. No one knows this case better. And
when I say he was a thief, this man was a full-fledged thief. He was a thief, just and comes from a line of people that had really worked hard to build a name for themselves. Baby, he just went down with the fire.
What it means, then Valerie Borline from the Wall Street Journal, the author of The Devil at His Elbow.
I'm not gonna go through all that, you guys. Y'all want to hear more about it? Feel free to go look it up. But child, they are saying that it was all the clerk's fault. The clerk is gonna get all the work. She's gonna get all the work. Because then Alex he gonna be in the scooter when he come out of there, if he ever make it out. I don't think he gonna come out. But child, him and Harvey Weinstein, maybe they could be cellmates. I don't know. I don't know if anybody has heard about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. I ain't gonna say she's a doctor because Chad ain't been able to find no degree, no dissertation. But let's go over here and listen to what Cheyenne done went over there and on this lady's show and podcast over there being, what is the word I want to use? Annoying, acting like she mad at everybody because she can't find her degree. Child,
I have multiple degrees and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody. My obedience is to God, not to people.
Her obedience is to God. She ain't proving nothing to none of y'all. Who are y'all?
And so as long as I'm in his will and I'm serving and I'm doing his, his word, my sheep will know my voice.
That's what the Bible says. My sheep will know my voice. But girl, where is your doctorate degree at? Where is your dissertation? Now the school done come out here and they done said that you lie. The school done said you lying, Cheyenne. They said that even if the school is closed, you can still get your transcripts. And they ain't found no transcript with your name on the Cheyenne.
Even the sheep in wolf clothing, that is not my battle.
Well, with the questions that are out there, why not provide the proof of your degree? Why not?
Why not? Why not show us the proof? You ain't got to double down and get mad at us. Just show that you got a degree. You ran out here running your math. If you had never ran your math, nobody would have ever questioned whether you had a doctorate degree or not. But now we question everything about you, Cheyenne. Is that really your name? Is Cheyenne really your name? Because you seem like a lie. You got a little lie.
Couple things, right? I have multiple degrees, and my thing is that my proof isn't something that I have to prove to individuals. My proof is already within my credentials, my degrees, and also more than just my titles. It's in how effective I've been.
Girl, what? How my proof is in my titles. Girl, are you serious? Ain't no way you think that's the truth. Let me tell you something. People who have PhDs, they work really, really hard. Really, really hard. I have a cousin who has a PhD. She lives in LA County, actually retired from LA County Unified School District, one of the first African American women known to have a PhD in the school district in LA. She's in her 80s now, still beautiful as ever. But I can remember as a child, we would, walk up on her and, hey, call her by her first name, and she would say, "Oh, it's doctor" to you. She would put her emphasis, doctor. And so I realized as I got older how much work she put into being a doctor. So she was very proud of the fact that she was a doctor. So to discredit those who work hard to get their PhDs, I have two nieces who have PhDs. Two. Both of them got them from the illustrious Texas Christian University, better known as TCU. But to downgrade their hard work and say that my titles don't mean anything, I believe they would beg to differ. I believe my niece went on Facebook last night and she posted her dissertation and she said, just in case TCU decides that they want to go out of business, I want it to be known that I graduated from the illustrious TCU with a PhD in philosophy. And she put up her dissertation and her and her cap and gown. She put her diploma. She said, let it be known. Let the world know that I graduated. And I see people doing that all across social media because people need to know. If you out here faking the funk, you out here faking the funk. But stop lying to yourself and the world, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, and tell us the truth. Evidence points to her not being a doctor. And I totally agree with you. Symmetry? Totally agree with you.
All of my sessions have been live for the most part. My sessions with Nick Cannon, Cam Newton, Shannon Sharp, B. Simone, they have all been for the world to see, right?
That don't make you a doctor, though. Being live doesn't make you a doctor. But go ahead, girl.
So no one knew who Dr. Bryant was prior to seeing all of my sessions that were live. And they deemed it, as well as I did before they did it, they can't validate me, I validated myself. They deemed it as my work being effective. I am effective at what I do. I'm educated and I'm successful in my lane, and I'll land on this. I created my own lane. And
I don't even know what to say with this one. She created her own lane of lies.
so a lot of times, Marissa, when people see that you created something that maybe they couldn't, admiration turns into envy. And you got to be okay.
Girl, nobody envying you. No one is envying you. No one. No one on earth is envying you.
You got to be okay with that
in
that
as an
space.
attack, but I think, and I've gotten this question from many viewers, and I owe it to them.
You
in
do.
Service to
Absolutely.
them. Why not drop doctor from your name if you cannot bring forth that doctoral degree?
So I've already covered this, right? And we're here obviously to talk about my new book. So I've earned the title. I have.
Girl, you still gonna hold on to this lie. Now I'm gonna tell you, this is on the Marisha Mitchell show, right? Marisha done come out here and made a whole statement, baby. She done did, when I say a whole live, talking about why she did this interview and that she does not believe Cheyenne Bryant has a doctorate, baby, allegedly.
Have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody, and we're going to leave it.
She ain't gonna prove nothing to nobody. But the school don't come out here and say they ain't got no record, girl, of you at the school. I digress, though.
Just as that, yeah.
Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
Baby, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
And that's where, and you're standing by.
She wanted to high five. Girl, she said, I ain't finna high five you. No, ma'am. I shake your hand, but we ain't gonna be on there acting like we cool with you lying.
Standing by it. Yeah, because I earned it.
Girl, whatever. Anywho, y'all. That's just so you, just letting you know about something, just in case you had not heard about it. Let's see what else I got on here. I got this gentleman I saw. I just wanted to show some fun things that I found on the internet. This one I thought was pretty interesting. This gentleman right here, he kicking butt and ain't taking no names. Let's go.
No doubt in my mind that the map's gonna pass. If y'all can give us less than 0 seats, you would do it.
This is a Louisiana resident who identifies himself as Marshawn. He delivered a fiery, emotional speech to lawmakers during a state Senate hearing over redistricting on Monday, this past Monday, accusing Republicans of trying to cheat Black voters out of political power. I should have played this a little bit earlier, but hey, we at it now. The MAGA party is the last breath of the Confederacy, he told lawmakers. If y'all could give us less than 0 seats, you would do that. Marshawn's testimony came as Louisiana Republicans advanced a new congressional map after the Supreme Court weakened key protections in the Voting Rights Act. Key protections in the Voting Rights Act. There will be no more of your party, he said. The midterms gonna come. Y'all gonna get wiped out, he said. Let's listen. Let's listen.
Y'all do this under the orders of somebody that said the Civil Rights Act was harmful to white people, that it caused reverse racism. RFK said that Black children are overfilled on antidepressants and that they need to be reparented on different forms, all of them. Pete Hegseth constantly brings Doug Wilson to the Pentagon to give a prayer service. Doug Wilson is the same pastor that said that slave owners were on strong spiritual ground. I don't have no belief in no morality on anybody that followed Donald Trump. If you wasn't with this map, you wouldn't be underneath this president. You wouldn't be in your party. You would stand up, you would stand against it, you would speak out about it. So as far as I'm concerned, if you here as one of these Trump Republicans, you already showed us who you are. You showed us what you want to do. And I believe the country as a whole is rebuking your party. Y'all are in a death spiral. That's why y'all have to
Y'all hold on to y'all seats. Put your seatbelts on, because he about to take you through there. Take you through there.
District. That's why y'all have to cheat. That's why Trump got to go to Texas and say he entitled to 5 more seats. It's because y'all know what y'all doing is abhorrent. We letting our people die in Iran based on false pretense that Tulsi Gabbard and Joe Kent say it ain't real. Y'all okay with all that. So I'm positive y'all gonna be okay with the maps. But the beautiful thing is, the children that y'all have made and the people that's younger than y'all don't support none of this racism that y'all want. The MAGA party is the last.
Some of them do. Remember, Charlie Kirk was trying to raise up children to believe that they were superior. Some of them do, but I agree with him. Most of them out here are not like that.
That's breath of the Confederacy. And I'll be happy to see millennials and Gen Z bury y'all. There will be no more of your party. The midterms gonna come, y'all gonna get wiped out. Trump gonna get dragged out of the White House, and I'm gonna love every second of it. Because y'all loved every second of the suffering that he caused to everybody in this country. And worldwide, we starve in Cuba. We bomb Nigeria. We hold in Zimbabwe and Zambia hostage for their minerals. We don't want to give them aid support. The pro-lifers that say all life is special, y'all letting kids die of AIDS. What part of your Bible say that?
I have to say I agree with him.
Point out the scripture. I think everybody would love to see it. And we would love to see y'all in the midterms.
Y'all, I'm telling you, these people out here doing and saying anything. I wanted to, let me see, is there anything else I wanted to talk about? Because I want to show us some fun. Yeah, Marshawn came with it. When I say he came with his symmetry, I was like, yes. When I was watching it the first time, I was like, I've got to share that on Saturday morning school because it was worth the share. And I think I pushed on the button and said, this has not gone viral enough. And it definitely hasn't at all. Y'all was talking about the Waymo cars. I want y'all to see this. This is Waymo cars are those Uber-like cars that don't have a driver that come out and pick up people. But people in Atlanta say they are having mass chaos. They say dozens of riderless Waymo cars circle their neighborhood daily. So they presented these series of videos. Y'all watch this.
This series of videos from one Battleview neighbor shows 13 Waymos total driving through here in the span of about 10 minutes.
I think yesterday morning we had 50 cars that came through between 6 and 7.
That's got to be annoying. That's got to be annoying. I saw one the other day. I was at work, but I was going to see a patient, and it was in front of me, and I was just waiting on it to do something stupid, and it crossed over into the other lane. I was like, oh my, I'm just gonna stay way back here. But it drove pretty good. Honestly, it did.
It's a problem they say has ramped up just in the last 2 weeks, with these Waymos driving in circles, seemingly just waiting for someone in the general area to call for a ride. And these neighbors are not happy.
Our big concern is just the excessive traffic on the street. You know, we're families, we have small kids, we have animals and pets, we've got kids getting on the bus in the mornings, and it just doesn't feel safe.
My question is that if they're waiting for people to call them, do y'all call Waymo a lot over there? Waymo a lot? There's a reason why they're sending all those cars to the area. Are the kids going to school on Waymo?
To have that traffic.
They even tried to put traffic signs of their own in the road to try to deter these driverless cars. But based on this video, it didn't work.
And we had at one point 8 Waymos that were stuck trying to figure out how to turn around.
And it's not just the Battleview neighborhood. It's also happening on nearby Fernleaf Circle and down the road where Deborah Childers and her dog Hazel live at the Glenridge Woods townhomes, which is private property.
It's enough of them that it's bothersome. It's not like one, it's like 3 or maybe 4, just they do the same loop. They practice their braking and their signals.
And they aren't sure what to do about the problem after.
She said they practice their braking and their signals.
Reaching out to Waymo themselves.
We never got a response. We reached out to local representatives.
It do look like a bunch of kids in cars that are just learning how to drive.
They kind of passed the buck to the next person. So when you combine like the Waymo traffic and construction that's going on, it's just kind of mass chaos.
What a mess. What a mess. What a mess. What a mess. Ciao. Let's see. I got a couple of more things I want to show, and we're going to get up out of here for the day. Y'all, I saw this earlier today, and I was like, I got to share this. When I tell you the Lord be watching over, what they say, you watch over kids and old people, kids and fools. Look at this. Look at this. I found this on TikTok. Shout out to TikTok. This is Anna Kid HD3. Boats started taking in water, and they are trying to rush back to shore. You can see the boat is sinking. On one side, it looks like they're only on one side.
Put it right on the bucket boat ramp. All right, put it on the boat ramp.
They're racing against time. Because baby, water does not play. They are racing against time. This is a fishing boat that they're on because there's a long landing on the front, but it is taking in water because it has has a rust area underneath the bottom that apparently that they were not aware of.
We'll make it. It's all good.
The thing is, with the force of the water, we all know water is heavy, and you're taking a boat, which is normally made out of fiberglass and metal, and they're hitting that water, and it's not doing anything but ripping that hole a little bigger and bigger the whole time. Sorry, it's getting a little bumpy because they are bumpy. They're hitting that water, those waves, and they're trying to get to shore. But again, they're racing up against time.
We need your trailer. I need your trailer. We need your trailer. We're sinking. We're sinking. We're sinking bad.
Now, what is the luck that you roll up to the ramp and there's a gentleman who has a trailer there that you can use to pull your boat out of the water? Baby, when I tell you God and luck was on their side, definitely.
Holy shit. You're off. You're off center. You need to come this way. Yeah.
I'll put you back on, but I need to drain this boat so I got to get off. The motor won't go.
And the man said he was taking his boat off. Child, when I tell you luck and God was on these guys' side, definitely luck and God.
Oh, God.
Y'all lose the plug or what?
I don't know. I look back, water's starting to fill in the boat fast. We hop on pad, it just keeps filling and filling.
Right.
Rafts fall off.
Whoa, the boat, man.
Now trim it up.
I want you to look at what they were riding on. The reason why I said that luck, God and luck was on their side, because they're going to flip the boat over in a moment. You're going to see what the hole that was in the boat.
Stop. Pull.
I'm telling you, when y'all get out here, y'all want to go fishing with people, y'all in a boat, y'all check them boats. Because, child, these people out here risking your life. Trust me, I know. I thought I was going to lose my life in the Indian Ocean when I was in Bali. Trust me, I know.
Look at this. Head over to the other side of the boat.
This is what they were dealing with. Look how big that hole is. Child, when I tell you that God was on their side, God was on their side. No, ma'am, no, ma'am. I got a couple of more things. You said I won't be using those vehicles. Oh, you won't use the Waymo? I don't blame you, me either. I have thought about it, but I just don't know how it feel. I don't know how it feel. I don't know how it would feel riding in a Waymo. I just don't know. Y'all, I saw this and there's a couple of more things I want to share, then we're gonna be done. But this one, I thought if men had to give birth, child, we wouldn't have no life form on earth other than dogs, cats, rats, animals, fish, elephants, animals. We wouldn't have no, there wouldn't be any human life if men had to give birth. Look at this, y'all. I'm not gonna play the music. Look at these young men in the birthing room. Chad, they can't take it. They can't. Look at him. He's like, what I'm looking at? Oh no, don't want no part of that. Look at him. He about to gag. He happy. He happy. That's a rare one that you get one that's excited. They had to lead him to the seat and sit him down. He can't take it, child. You on the rest because you doing too much. And he crying. Child. Look at this one, baby. When I tell you these men get weak when it comes down to children giving birth, couldn't do it. I'm sure if they had to, they might be able to. This one, they had to sit him down too. Child. He just starts crying. Bless his heart. Birth is such an emotional time for some men. I want you, the next thing I want you guys to hear, let me cut it off, and I'm going to end on this note. You said, oh my, right? Oh my is right. Oh my is right. Y'all, I saw this and this touched my heart, and this is the last thing I have to share for the day. Let's go.
And we ask of
No. Yeah. He answered. Yeah, we playing. This week alone, this touched me so much because on this week alone, I have Mother's Day was just Sunday, and really, really trying time. Mother's Day, I got really, really sad. Did you notice I've been putting out videos like I should? Kind of got into my feelings, got a little depressed, and not depressed where I couldn't move, but just in my feelings a lot, to the point where I just kind of stealed away. And that particular song came to me on Tuesday morning when I woke up, and I began playing it. This morning, as I was going through TikTok, finding things to share with you guys, I saw this. And I really felt this young man's spirit because he don't put his bike down. And he's in full praise to God. And this is kind of how I was on Tuesday when I felt my breakthrough coming, where I could really relieve that relief of being not so depressed anymore.
That shit, friend. That's why I trust in God. Hey, my Savior. I was singing that shit over there, man. Oh! Yo, bro, to be singing that, my nigga, while you walking with your bike late night, like, hey, that's touching, bro.
Well, you guys, that's it. You said wimps. Yeah, the guy, those men were wimps. I will tell you this. The one thing I have learned is if you see God's face, he will always come to your rescue. Again, death is sure. My mom had taught us that, even with the death of my father, who passed away when I was quite young, in my early 20s. My mom taught us that death is gonna come, and you just have to be ready for it. And although I'm okay with the death, I still miss my mom. So Mother's Day this year was a little trying for me just because I was getting to the day. And then once I got to the day, I went to the cemetery, visited her grave, left flowers. And I can honestly say this is the first time I've went to the graveyard, even since my father passed away. And I did not cry, because I did not cry. I actually talked to her a little bit, cleaned off her headstone, cleaned off my grandparents' headstone, my great-grandmother's headstone, great-grandfather, aunts and uncles, and left some flowers with my aunts and uncles and grandparents, and walked to my car. And I looked back at the grave, and I said, oh, she's not here. You have to really, really understand that when our loved ones pass on from this life, that they are no longer where they're not in the grave. You don't leave your family members in a grave, that their spirit forever lives in you. And if you carry that DNA, their DNA forever lives in you, and you carry a part of them with you every single day. And when I came to that realization was about on Tuesday, and I started singing this song. I sought the Lord, and he heard, and he answered. That is why I trust him. That is why I trust him. If no one told you today that they love you, I love you. And there ain't a thing you can do about it. Remember to make sure that your registration to vote is still active, to make sure that you do go out and vote, and that you tell your friends, your loved ones, your neighbors about the very fact that they're trying to take away our constitutional rights. Remember, the U.S. Constitution is at play. Y'all have a great day.